do animal classification. Many of you call it the green mat because obvious. So this is for the whole kingdom of animals. So everything from tiny things like ants all the way to gigantic whales. Okay, so on our chart, everything on this side is a vertebrate. So that means anything with a backbone. You can feel your own backbone, remember that? So anything with bones of any sort, skulls and ribs and all that. And this side are animals that have no bones, like worms and crabs and bumblebees and octopus. Okay, so there are lots of groups of each. You have started doing these vertebrate booklets. Many of you remember these. There's one for amphibians. Oops, I pulled the mammals book. We're gonna start with mammals. Remember, mammals are anything with fur and bones, and they breathe with lungs, and they drink milk from their mom. So I have a tag here, a ticket that says Mammalia, and I'm gonna put that one right here. Because there are lots of groups of mammals. What's another vertebrate? Who knows one? I'm thinking of things with scales that lay eggs and either have 4 legs or none. Reptiles. Here we go. Okay. Things that fly with feathers and wings. Birds are called aves. It's Latin. Aves. I already mentioned amphibians, like a frog. They have that smooth skin that has to stay wet. I'm going to put those over here, but they do have bones. The last two, I have, one is fish, and its fancy name is Osteichthyes. Now there are lots of groups of fish, but I'm going to put it here and not split it into groups because I don't have the animal packets for those. Remember how to do this chart? We use the animal packets for the longest time, but I'm showing this because some of you have worked with those packets a lot and written down the names and which animals go in each packet. So you might be able to start something like this at home. Okay, and the last one is Chondrichthyes, which is the fancy name for sharks and rays. So they're gonna go over here. Also, same thing, I didn't make groups, but they do exist, so you might want to look that up. What are the groups of sharks and rays? Okay, so the next step, we're gonna do invertebrates last. Usually after the classes of vertebrates, we take one and break it into groups. So I'm gonna start with reptiles. Remember, they lay eggs, hard-shelled eggs, scaly skin, they breathe with lungs. And I'm gonna remind you of our packets. So one of the reptile groups is the turtles with shells, and they have 4 legs, and that's called Colonia. I'm gonna put that in. I can put it here, 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 it doesn't matter. As long as I know it's a part of the reptiles order. Sorry, reptiles class. This is the order, Colonia. Okay, another reptile is a lizard, 4 legs, long tail, Lacertilia. Gonna put Lacertilia on there. Our class gecko, Steve, is in the group Lacertilia. All right. The snakes have no legs at all, of course, as you know, and that's called Ophidia. There are so many groups of snakes, and some of you did 15 or 16 groups of snakes this year. That was really fun. If you haven't done that, now's a good time to look it up. You've got time. Okay, and the last group for reptiles is Crocodilia. That's crocodiles, alligators with the giant jaws, and the funny one, I don't know if you can see it on there, a gharial with the lumpy nose. I like that one. Okay, so then you would do the same thing. So what I'm gonna do, because you don't have the animal packets at home to practice, because let's say I was practicing at school and I wanted to know the groups of amphibians. I forgot those. I would just go and get the packets and look at them and match them up. So I'm going to take pictures of some of the packets and send that to your parents, so that if you want to practice this and draw some sort of chart, it could look like this, or it could just be a list of animals and what group they go in, that you could do that at home. You may want to look around and see what animals are in your neighborhood and try to figure out what group they're in. That might be fun. Thank you.